Welcome to the 2024 election debate. Cowboys, Browns. This is going to be far better than anything and everything Wednesday evening on ABC. But we've got representing the Dallas Cowboys, we've got Book and Green in the green avatar. You've got representing the Cleveland Browns, you've got Joseph Potter in the Evolution Network avatar. I am the guy with the Draftopia moderator on TalkShoe. And yes, this is the first time I am screen sharing TalkShoe to Restream. So you will get the visuals for the debate on YouTube as well as Restream. But we're gonna flip a coin to decide who goes first or last in the debate. And since the Cowboys are the visiting team, Kerm gets to call it in the air. He gets to call heads or tails to decide who goes first or second in the debate if he gets it right. And if he gets it wrong, Joey gets to decide who goes first or last. Going last means you get the last word in. Going first means you get to go first and jump straight into the argument. So on that note, heads or tails?
Heads.
It is tails. Joe, would you like to go first or defer to the end of the debate?
I will defer to the end of the debate. Your floor.
Also, one last thing before I get into the first question. Are we good with the 2-minute rule? Because I can expand to 3, 4, or 5 minutes if both parties agree to it beforehand.
I think we should go through, but if you're in the middle of a thought, I think you should get a 30-second to 1 minute extension if you're in the middle of a thought, because it would not be good to just cut somebody off when, in the mid-sentence or something like that.
How about this? You get 3 timeouts like in football. If you're in the middle of a thought, you can use the timeouts to continue your closing arguments. And you get that for 3 of the 8 topics. 3 of the 8 questions. That's fair.
Okay, Carm, are you good with that?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, so am I. Let it work.
Okay, so I'm pulling up my stopwatch, and I will start the timer as soon as I finish reading the first question. Andrew, how will the Dallas Cowboys incorporate CeeDee Lamb into their game plan against the Cleveland Browns cornerbacks like Denzel Ward, Martin Emerson Jr., and Greg Newsome?
I don't think it's really going to be much of a difference. He might be on a limited snap count with him holding out, but other than that, really no difference. But why would they have to go something different when he was the first or second best receiver in the league last year? So I don't really know why you want to go different unless you're afraid that he's not ready because he didn't get a full camp in due to holding out. What's your opinion on that, Joey?
Look, this is something I've done extensive research on as well. The thought process here is CeeDee Lamb, one of the top receivers in the NFL. He can go both sides. He can go in the slot. They're going to get arguably the best secondary in the NFL. Guess what? It's going to be a hell of a game, but there is nothing that the Cowboys should do different because why would you? He's CeeDee Lamb. There's no reason you should do anything different.
Yeah, but I was kind of curious about the volume CeeDee Lamb would get. Like, how many targets you think he's going to get? Like total receptions, just like a projection here. You still do have 30 seconds left before we get to Joey's opening question. If you'd like to continue or make a closing thought on that, Andrew.
It's going to be it's going to be a normal game plan for him. His normal stuff. He might play only 80% of the plays he would normally play because of, like I said, missing camp. There's really nothing else. Like Joey said, it's CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
They're not going to really do much any different of a game plan.
All right. That was Kerm's first 2 minutes. And same question goes for Joey. How are the Browns going to utilize Amari Cooper against corners like Diggs, Kalen Carlson, who's filling in for Deron Bland, who I really like, and Jordan Lewis? Your 2 minutes begins now, Joey.
Now, this is interesting because in the same token as CeeDee Lamb, it's also Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper, yes, can he beat you deep? Yes. But is he probably the best route runner in the game? Absolutely. He's going to take those routes, and I would expect a couple double routes, but I think a lot of how he's going to be utilized is based on the other receiver. So let's take Jamari Thrash, the rookie. He has shown he is a good route runner, has strong hands, but he's a burner. He's going to beat you deep. You've got Tillman, who has come in and shown that he's learned a lot. He was bunking with Cooper during the offseason. He's learned a lot about route running and how to play the shooting game. But the big thing is the one guy you got to look at, Jerry Jeudy. Amari Cooper was his role model as a football player. He went to Alabama because of Cooper. He is a younger version of Cooper at this point in his career, but he hasn't had the stability. Now he's got the stability. He's got the contract. He's been practicing with his idol. If those guys come out and make their presence known, Amari Cooper is going to have a huge game because you have to double team Cooper. He makes a precise route, and there's only one guy to beat. I'm taking Cooper on that. And Cooper is the best route runner in this game.
Yeah.
So I expect them to run precise routes. Over the middle, out and up, anything they can get route-wise to get him open, best route runner in the game, he's going to – and they're going to take advantage of space on the fact that they're running 3 and 4 wides now, and those guys are going to make themselves known.
Great points,
Hey,
Joey.
Who is Joey
Yes.
Jeudy?
Huh?
Who is Joey Jeudy?
Jerry
You
Jeudy.
said Joey.
Yeah, you
Joey
said
the-
I guess you
Jerry.
said Joey Jeudy. I thought you said Jerry Jeudy too, but Kerm interpreted it as Joey Jeudy. But
I should have been. I should have had my language a little bit better.
Joey
At the moment, I was
Jeudy is a small
excited.
school wide receiver at the Alabama Institute of Technology. That was a joke.
I was going to say, if you're correct in that, then I really screwed up on the name. But yeah, it's Jerry Jeudy. My bad. I should have been more clear. So there you go.
Yeah, I thought both of you had good arguments, so I will do something really rare, something I rarely do. I'm going to award both of you a point for the first of 8 questions I'm going to ask each of you. So it's a rare instance where I don't pick one side over the other after the first round of the debate, and I award both Andrew and Joey a point. Now, we started with the receivers first because I have a thumbnail of Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb on the YouTube video. Now we're going to get into the quarterbacks. We'll start with you, Andrew. What does Dak Prescott have to do to attack and expose what may arguably be the best defense in the NFL?
I'm going to say he should do a lot of a check down routes because I'm at the disadvantage here because I really haven't watched NFL games in 3 or 4 years. So I'm doing a lot of this based on what I've read and stuff. So not having actual game film to study, it's hard for me to say everything. Just say his normal self because he's one of the better QBs in the game. So he'll be able to pinpoint each, say, openings and stuff. Even though Browns were the best defense last year, and do we pay most of the same? It's still going to be different. It's based on the fact that there's 7 new games you got to play, and we don't know how these 7 new games are going to coincide. Sorry, 6 new games. Or is it 7? I don't know the new scheduling format. With how everything happens now. Plus, is this game home or away?
It is an away game in First Energy Stadium, but it is the Fox game of the week. It's also Tom Brady's debut on the microphone. But go ahead and continue. If you like to continue, you still do have 40 seconds left.
New linebackers, so how good can they be in coverage and also help in a stop the run? And that will bring me to is Ezekiel Elliott in his second stint with the Cowboys as good as what he was with the first stint? Because I'm reading reports that he is listed as the starter for the Cowboys. So is he as good as what he used to be? He's a running back, so who knows if he is still good or not.
That's a great point.
Running backs have short shelf lives.
You're absolutely right on that. Running backs have short lifespans when it comes to longevity. Joey, the same question is for you. What can Deshaun Watson do to expose the Dallas Cowboys defense?
The big thing that came out of this was the Bland injury for the Cowboys. Fifth round pick is going to be the starter against, presumably, Jerry Jeudy. That's a problem. Why? Because the Browns are going to play 3 and 4 receivers most of the time. If he gets matched on Judy's got his route running, okay? If he gets matched up on the Njoku, Cowboys fans pray. Because Njoku is a freak of nature physically, and after last year, he looks like he's fixed his hands. Okay? He gets the ball, he's going to make the play. And that goes to Deshaun Watson because he was the one guy that reached out to him above all others. He reached out to him and said, I'm going to come help you during your rehab. It was David Njoku. David Njoku was working out with Deshaun Watson during his rehab because he believed in his quarterback and he wanted to get every leg up on the season he could. The key is attack the areas that they have problems with. You know there's one linebacker that's going to be coming, and we all know who he is. So you shift that down to a 4-3 on Dallas again. You've got Jeudy and Cooper who are going to be running precise routes. You got the speedster, but then you've got Njoku. Njoku gets the ball, he's going to get the yards after the catch. The key for Deshaun Watson, make sure you get Njoku involved early and often, and then hit Cooper and Jeudy down. And then if last gets deep, hit your big plays when you have them. You don't need to go all out against Dallas' defense in this setting because Bland is not there. You've got that one big-time corner. You've got 2 really nice safeties, but you do have that one glaring problem. If he can come around and he can hit that with Njoku against those linebackers who are not great against coverage and open up the field for those downfield throws with the great route running and deep threat, that's where you're going to have your success. And work Njoku until he's not working anymore. But once the Cowboys adjust, because Mike Zimmer is a freaking genius. I love Zimmer. but he's going to have no choice but to jump. And then make sure stand deep and make the plays you need to make.
All right.
Hey Joey, I'm reading the Browns say SB Nation's site, and something to keep in mind: plan for the Cowboys is out for the game, so lucky fifth rounder Kevin Carson is going to be starting instead.
The Wake Forest corner that I loved on tape. Yeah, I mentioned that earlier when researching the depth charts for this game. But I love Kalen Carson at Wake Forest. I'm super confident in him. But, you know, it is a transition. I mean, even Quinion Mitchell struggled in some of the plays last night in Brazil.
I did mention that early. I mentioned that in, like, my first sentence.
You did.
Because it's easy to glance over because it was the first sentence. But we're talking about a rookie in his first NFL game against some of the best route runners in the game. And the other rookie that he could go against was one of the best route runners in the draft. So, I mean, even if I poo-pooed his route running a little bit because he ran it off so many things, in camp and in season, Flash has shown that he can do that. So you got a lot of great route runners. For
the one receiver I do think he'd favor against, before we get to Andrew's third question, the one receiver I think he would be favorable against is Elijah Moore. If Elijah Moore's in the slot, I think that's the one receiver Carlson can shut down, like guaranteed shut down. If he's against Judy, he's against Tillman, he's against Cooper, he's against Thrash, he's going to have some problems. I think David Bell can get some separation on him too as far as the route tree goes, but he's not as fast. He's not as fast as Carlson. That's the difference.
Bell was released yesterday after practice.
Okay, I did not.
So Bell is.
I will have to update that on the site right now because I did not know that actually happened. I did not know he got cut from the team. That's news to me.
You're good. Everybody was surprised at it because we all thought Bell was a lock for week one. We expect him to be back on the practice squad come Monday. But he was cut. But I agree with you to a point. I don't think that he would be able to shut down more, but I think it would be a wash. I think it would be, 2 catches for 20 yards or something like that. Not a complete shutdown, but, if he faced more. But then that brings the question, who would go to the second, who would become the second corner in that situation?
Jordan Lewis has been the nickel corner his entire career in Dallas since he was drafted by the Cowboys. So that's the thing. Yeah, I don't think they want to take him out of that slot corner role.
You don't. And I think the Cowboys and Mike McCarthy are the same thing you are. And I think that's why Carson's going to be in there.
We're banking on Carson's side coming out of Wake Forest, but the Browns are banking on Carson's lack of experience. They're both banking on different things for different reasons with Carson.
And I'm going to say this before we get on to the next question because this is a blanket statement. This is a hell for the Cowboys and these rookies. This is a hell of a welcome to the NFL moment because they're probably not going to see a collective group this balanced the rest of the year. So this is a hell of a welcome to the NFL moment, and if they can even put up a good showing, I feel good about the Cowboys the rest of the year.
All right. We're moving on to the next topic. This is the third question for Andrew, and I'm giving both of you a point for topic 2. I'm surprised I'm doing this again, but I thought you both had strong arguments. But now we're going to shift from the quarterbacks and receivers to the edge rushers. And we're going to start with Andrew. How much success does Micah Parsons have against the Browns offensive line with both Jedrick Wills and Jack Conklin out at left tackle? James Hudson's probably going to get the start at left tackle with DeJuan Jones at right tackle.
I think it would be as normal Micah Parsons with him being player of the year a few times. So I don't really see them doing much of a threat to him. They might get a few double teams on him, but there'll still be Michael Parsons that everybody knows.
I agree with that for the most part. But how many sacks do you think he's going to get? Like, what type of impact is he going to have in this game? Because we know he's a superstar. We know he's one of the best in the league.
I would bet the over-under at a 3.5.
All right.
And but he'll be a major impact like he normally is.
You still got a minute, but I can we'll just give you an extra minute with the next topic if you need it. That because you pretty much finished your closing thoughts on this topic early. My question to Joey is, how much success will Myles Garrett have against the Dallas Cowboys offensive line? Because I do think he has a matchup advantage against both Terrence Steele at right tackle and Tyler Guyton, the rookie left tackle, set to make his first NFL start.
I think we lost Joey.
I will check Talk Shoe for a second. I'm not sure if it is the audio. Joey still has a minute to have a response, but okay, Joey did disconnect. I think he's going to call back in when he can. All right. So
I think he's back.
I'm back. Weather in Jacksonville right now is not great. I got disconnected. I'm sorry, y'all. But I'm back.
No worries. How much success will Myles Garrett have against this Dallas offensive line with Terrence Steele and Tyler Guyton, the rookie, as the tackles he'll be facing in Week 1?
Well, here's the thing. You have to really look at what you can do with Myles Garrett opposed to Parsons. Parsons is probably the best rush linebacker in the game, but Garrett is a guy, we saw it last year. He can play linebacker, he can play the right side, he can play the left side, he can move around. He can go between the legs with the basketball before rushing up the middle. Garrett can have terms at 3.5 sacks for Nick Parsons. Well, I've been asking you the question, Chris, for the last week, over-under on 7 combined sacks. I'm looking at 7 combined sacks. I'm saying 3.5 for Myles Garrett. But here's the thing. The Browns pass rushers have improved from last year. We've seen the progression of some of their guys. Okay? So, by proxy, you expect them to improve again. Alex Wright, a lot of people are expecting him to get 7 to 8 sacks this year. If that happens, he will end up supplanting Zadarius Smith, who had 5. Now, that's projection. But if it comes true, that means you're going to have, with Odo, you're going to have at least 4 guys that can get after the pass rusher on the edge. And we know there's got at least 2 at defensive tackle. And that means you cannot trip, because one of the big things with Myles Garrett, he leads the league in triple teams. And it's not even close. You can't triple team somebody if you've got 3 or other pass rushers coming after you. Because these guys get some pressure, Garrett gets 3.5. If these guys don't get pressure, Myles gets 3.5 against the rookie Guyton. If they do get pressure, he can get as many as 5, and that 7 mark moves up to 8.5 combined. And we could be seeing the biggest sack game in the history of the NFL between 2 players.
Yeah, and I'm going to talk about the next question. I'm going to give Andrew the point this round. I really liked how he broke down Parsons, but I'm going to let's talk about the other players on the defensive line for both teams. We're going to start with you, Andrew. Besides Micah Parsons, you've got Mozzie Smith, last year's first-round pick, Oso Digizua, DeMarcus Lawrence. I think they added Jordan Phillips for depth off the bench. They've added some guys. Who else do you believe has an impact in this game for the Dallas Cowboys defensive line besides Micah Parsons, Andrew?
Go ahead, Joey. I gotta do something really fast. So I'm gonna leave this one to the Joey first.
Okay.
Okay. I'll take it, and Kerm can do his next. Kerm can do 2 in a row. So I will answer it from a Browns perspective. Was that your question for me?
Yeah.
Well?
Yeah. I was going to ask Andrew who's going to have an impact besides Parsons on the defensive line. I was going to say the same thing with Garrett. So.
Okay, then I'll do Kerm, and Kerm can have 2 in a row as well.
Right.
And the other pass rushers, I think they showed at the end of last year with Obo and Alex Wright that they are adept at getting sacks. And Obo showed so much toughness because, as you remember, he tore his pec in week 13. He was back by week 18. That is a 9-month injury at least, and he was back in 5 weeks. And he is a very good pass rusher. Zadarius Smith, a very good pass rusher, but he's getting up there in age, so he might take a step back. But here's what's going to be the key to these pass rushers is that interior pass rush, because yeah, you have interior run stuffers. You got 2 or 3 defensive tackles, and also who can get into defensive tackle and play defensive tackle on passing situations. And you also, as we saw last year, have Zadarius Smith who can go inside, and he and Oronflo can set up on the outside on there. So we're looking at potentially 3 to 4 pass rushers. I've also heard that they are looking to get the linebackers more involved in pass rush this year. So if you're looking at pass rushers, I think that was your question, pass rushers, right?
I was referring to the entire defensive line as a whole, not just the edge rushers, but the interior as well.
Oh, okay. Okay. And Mo Hurst So Mo Hurst is also healthy. And he had the best year of his career last year before his injury. This is going to be a huge test for the Cowboys because these guys are going to get after it.
Even though the Cowboys have two really good guards, Brock Hoffman, an undrafted a fifth-round pick from the Broncos that the Broncos cut. I think he's making his first start with the Cowboys at center. So, I mean, that's going to be a big test for him right out of the gate.
It's going to be tough for them. I'm not going to poo-poo the Cowboys offensive line, but I'm going to have to. If I'm not giving the Ravens
about the guards
offensive line, I'm not going to give it that. So I know. I'm just saying. I can't give any quarter. I can't give any advantages to anybody. This is a simple. You have a lot of diversity on that Cleveland defensive line. A lot of pass rushers on that Cleveland defensive line. And Jim Schwartz, and now it's Mike Vrabel as an advisor, they're going to take advantage of all that diversity. And that is the biggest key. And that's what I'm trying to get across, is that you have guys, just because they play defensive end, they can also play defensive tackle. They can also, it is diverse. I saw Mo Hurst line up for defensive end a couple times last year. It's diverse. It's ready to go. And a second year in this team, it's going to be difficult for the Cowboys' young offensive line to deal with it because in spite of all that, they got Myles Garrett. So if the other two, I think they'll do, they've got Myles Garrett.
Okay, if Herman still needs a few minutes, I can pull up some of the comments Tracy Porter left in the chat. Okay, great. I will. Okay, because I did see some comments from Tracy in the chat room, such as the Cowboys can't give up the deep pass. Parsons, he's got shall have at least 3 sacks versus the Browns. Kerm has 3.5. And Myles Garrett will dominate the Cowboys' offensive line. And we agree on all these talking points, Tracy. These are things we agree on entirely. So great stuff. Who else on the Dallas Cowboys defensive line besides Micah Parsons is going to step up? And this could be edge rushers like DeMarcus Lawrence or guys on the interior.
Not sure here.
That's fair.
So we know Lawrence will be good. Because Lawrence has always been a good counter to the Michael Parsons. So something to keep in mind, both offensive lines having 2 rookie starters. So who knows how good each line is going to produce. And then
he's not a rookie starter, but he might as well be.
And something else to keep in mind, Cleveland had last year gave the ball away the most, while Dallas took it away the most. So on that, you might want to have to go with Dallas on the takeaway battle, because if the defense can take the ball away a few extra times, extra possessions, less time for the others for Cleveland to score.
Those are both great talking points. After 4 topics, we're tied at 3-3. I gave Joey and Kermit a point in one topic, and I gave them both a point in the first 2 topics. Next up, I'm going to ask Andrew this again. Can the Cowboys the guard combination of Tyler Smith at left guard and Zach Martin at right guard, can they neutralize these defensive tackles on passing and running plays? And how will that affect the Dallas Cowboys game plan?
Well, Zach Martin is the last holdout from that great offensive line that Dallas had many years ago. So we know what he brings. And Guyton being a new, or you said Smith, not Guyton, sorry. And so who knows? Like I said before, I hadn't seen how Guyton was last year, so I'm not sure. And
I meant to say Tyler Smith, not Guyton. That's my apologies. I meant to say Tyler Smith. Because Tyler Smith played left tackle when Tyron Smith was injured last year, and now he's moving back to left guard where he played next to Smith as a rookie. So I do think he's going to have more success there, but I think it's still going to be interesting to see what happens. I mean, because the Browns, they got Dalvin Tomlinson. They've got some guys up front in the interior, Maurice Hurst. They've got guys, okay? But I do think if those guys can win the one-on-ones, it does open things up.
Mm-hmm.
You've still got 40 seconds if you'd like to continue. If not, the added time will carry over to your next topic if you need it, and we can give Joey a turn to answer.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Joey.
All right, Joey, your question is the same with the guard combo, except you're going to be discussing Bitonio and Wyatt Teller. How can they neutralize Mozzie Smith and Oso Digizua and passing plays for Watson as well as running plays for Jerome Ford, and how is that going to help the Browns out?
Well, this is as straightforward as you're going to get because Teller and Bitonio have been one of the best guard combinations in the NFL for years, at least 3 years. So Bitonio is a Hall of Famer. When he retires, he's going to be immediately introduced into the Browns Hall Ring of Honor. And 4 years later, he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. You can't excuse that. Wyatt Teller, well, he has dropped off over the last year and a half or so. He's still one of the better guards in the game. The big question is the new scheme, new coach. I think these guys are going to handle it fine. But let's face it, Dallas has an issue with their defensive tackles on the pass rush. And, defensive tackles on the pass rush. They're very nice run stuff. But they don't do as much of a pass rush you want to see. So, to your question, you got two of the best guards in the NFL against two pass rushers that are average at defensive tackle. So I think the biggest thing they're going to have to do out is watch for stunts. Because one thing I did when I was playing defensive tackle back a long time ago, I was what they call a shooter. I shot the gas. I saw an opening, I took an opening. They're going to have to watch for that. Because that's a weakness that they had last year. Or those shooters that just randomly, automatically fly inside. And maybe I need to look at Partridge, the center, a little bit more to pick that up. But that's something that if they pick that up, because you know the Cowboys are going to exploit it. If they pick that up, I think they will hold their own quite well inside.
Yep, great argument, Joey. I'm going to give you the point for this round, but I thought you and Andrew both had very good arguments. We're going to talk about the tight ends, and then the injuries, and then the one. Then you'll have the option of doing one player I didn't mention, and if we're still tied after those three topics, then we will go to a tiebreaker topic. But let's start with you, Andrew. How do you think Jake Ferguson's going to do against Brown safeties like Grant Delpit and Juan Thornhill?
So he broke out last year. So from everything I've read, he's the third option usually for Jack. So I think he'd be a lot like a safety valve check if need be. His first two are going up. Because I believe for the last 10, 15 years, a tight end is to be a good tight end, you need to be a good pass catcher as well as blocker on runs. Because if your QB knows you're a good safety valve, it's easy to get those little 2-3 yard passes. So to mitigate, could be a 4 or 5 yard sack. Hit those small checkdowns. And then you saw that with both the late Aaron Hernandez and I'm drawing a blank here. It's the other side for the Patriots. Brady had those two checkdowns, and they carved up defenses. This was easy checkdown passes. I'm basically drawing a blank because I watched an HC Network and HC Nation with a Tebow. Gronk. Couldn't do that, but Gronk and Hernandez was a deadly tight end threat where you can have those easy checkdowns. So you get those good checkdowns in, that's a deadly threat.
I agree, and that's a big reason why I think the Chiefs brought in Noah Gray. They want to have him complement Kelsey the way Hernandez complement Gronk, even though he's much cleaner off the field. But yeah, Joey, and I think the Cowboys did draft a tight end out of Michigan in the second round last year. He's their number 2 tight end. I don't remember his name at the top of my head, but the same question goes for you, Joey, with the Browns tight ends. And how are they going to match up against Malik Hooker and Donovan Wilson? How's Njoku?
I'm going to say this.
It's Luke
Schoonmaker, the Michigan tight end. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing. You can't say that the Browns are going to take Njoku in tight. It's going to happen a little bit, but when it does happen, Cowboys don't have anybody that can guard them. Chris Smith is going to catch the ball. Last year, late in the season, he showed he's going to catch more passes than he drops, which is a huge opening in his game. As I mentioned before, he spent all season with Deshaun Watson. Not all season, but at least a couple weeks. But I played for the really well. I watched some of the workouts together. They look like they understood each other pretty well. I expect Njoku to be in the slot. I expect him to be in tight. I expect a huge dose of David Akers being in there when Njoku is in the slot. Okay? I expect a lot of diversity from their tight ends this year. Herm said it himself. Hard to defend 2 tight ends. Now, what happens when you have to defend 2 tight ends when one of them spread out wide? And somebody who catches the ball and gets 10 yards after the catch every time he catches the darn ball. That is a huge problem for the Cowboys. And I don't think they have a very good I think it was they gave up the seventh most yards to tight ends last year, if I'm not making. I don't think they've addressed that. Well, Mike Zimmer may somebody I hold in incredibly high esteem. That doesn't excuse the players. And I don't think the players are up to snuff against Njoku, especially if Njoku is being moved around all over the whole place. And in that case, as I said before, Watson and Njoku, that's the matchup to watch. I don't care who Njoku's against. Watson hits Njoku a few passes early, changes the entire game. I don't think linebackers or safeties are going to make a difference.
This is where I disagree, because I think if Malik Hooker plays like he did against Ohio State, I know it's a big if. If he plays like that, I think he can limit Njoku in the deep passing game. But the short, medium passing game, I agree with you. I think Njoku is going to dominate in that respect. So I'll give Andrew the point.
Well, that's what I was saying. Well, that's what I was saying, Chris, because I didn't expect Njoku to get a lot of long passes. What I expected Njoku to realize is when he catches the ball and then he runs for it. Because he's shown he will run over linebackers. It's that's going to throw in the defense and allow the other guys to fly. You're looking at long passes. That's not to do with Njoku. Njoku catches it within 6 yards, and he goes. That's why I said, if you get it, you get at least 10 yards. All you have to do is catch a darn ball. So when it comes to deep passes against safeties with tight end, I wasn't even addressing that because it's not their game. Not the Njoku's game. It's not the game that they're looking at. Give them the ball, let them work. That's Njoku's game.
That's a great point. The next two topics, we're going to talk about injuries. We're going to talk about how can Dallas overcome the injury to Bland. We're also going to talk about how the Browns can overcome their injuries on the offensive line. But we'll start with you, Andrew. How can the Cowboys overcome their injury to Bland and other injuries on the team? How can they overcome those in this contest?
Well, looking at the injury reports just now, Bland is the only one officially out. Everybody else is probable Cresswell to play the game. They got rid of probable. So, and there's 4 participants in practice. So, other than Bland being out, there should be no difference in who is safe on that situation. So it'll be just their normal game plan. That's why you have backup.
Yeah. I think there's a good surprise. And for you, Joey, how can the Browns overcome the not having Conklin and Will at left tackle and some of the other injuries they've got with about Ford playing?
Well, here's what I heard as of this morning. Conklin is not out. He's questionable.
I read on Twitter yesterday that he's doubtful. He hasn't officially been ruled out yet, but I've heard he's doubtful on Twitter yesterday. Doubtful usually means out. Not inactive, but doubtful is
that is inactive. But either way, it doesn't really make a difference in how they attack this. And this is why I said Njoku is probably going to be out wide more. I think Atkins is Aiken. Sorry, Aiken. Thinking more about my diet. Okay. Aiken is going to be inside. He's going to be chipping. I expect a lot of chipping to be going on with Foreman. Not Foreman. Maybe Foreman. I think he was picked back up on the practice squad if he's available. And other players, I think there's going to be a lot of chips. I think there's going to be a lot of screen passes. And I think there are going to be some screen passes to the running back on here to mitigate what is done on a defensive pass rush level for the Cowboys. Because you have to hit that. You got to make Micah Parsons especially believe he's got you. Because if you make Micah Parsons think he got you, dump that thing off Ford. We've seen what Ford can do in the open field. Problem is, he doesn't get there as often as we'd like him to. But if you get him on a screen, get him in the open field, get Parsons in, get those other receivers going deep, now you've opened up an entire field for a guy that is known for 70-yard runs. That's his claim to fame. He runs a long way. You get those screens. Or you get a screen in the Joker. What's the thing I just said? Screen in the Joker. What's going to happen? The Joker's going to get 20 yards a pop on a screen. And he's going to lay a head on somebody or jump over them. One of the two. They're going to have to utilize the screen game. They're going to have to chip a lot. And if they chip, they screen. And they just do the little things that need to be done. I don't think it'll be as much of a problem as it should be. I still think Parsons going to get his. But it should keep him from getting more than his.
Yeah. Last topic. It's still, I'm awarding both of you a point. Last topic, it's going to be the tiebreaker topic. There's not going to be we're not going to have a tiebreaker round unless you both dominate this round. But the next topic is name one player on that I didn't mention this entire show that you believe will be a factor for the Dallas Cowboys. And the same question will be for you, Joey, at the end with the Browns. But Andrew, name a player on the Cowboys that we haven't mentioned yet that you believe will be a factor in Sunday's game.
See how good Jalen Troper can do. When they try to double team CD Lamb. So that's going to be because your number two has to be just as good as your number one, so that the defense can't double team a player as much.
I like that answer because most people say Cooks is the number two, but Tolbert's more athletic, and with a big year, he could end up jumping Cooks as the number two. So I like that answer. I know Joey's a big fan of Tolbert too. That was a good answer. Joey, who do you believe will be a factor for the Browns? A player I didn't mention.
I've got a couple, but the first one that came to mind, so I'm going to go right off the top of my head. Grant Jacob Delpit. A guy that's strong safety that can come in, he can play deep. I would not be surprised if he got an interception. I would not be surprised if he got a sack. Grant Delpit is a Swiss Army knife. He had a couple really rough years. I mean, you and I covered it in nauseum about injury in college, injury his first year in the pros, the first full year he was healthy, he became one of the top, probably 14 or 15 safeties in this league. Okay. Now this year, fully healthy, he's going to come out gangbusters. Grant Delpit is going to wreak havoc. He's going to be on the line. He's going to work the run. He's going to work the pass. Grant Delpit may very well be the X factor in this game. Point blank. Because if he gets an interception, he gets a couple passes for a loss, he gets a sack, he makes sure they don't do anything over on the slot, over the middle, interior of the slot. Grant Delpit's going to be Grant Delpit, and what he does is going to be the one guy in this game that's going to make the difference. And there's no argument that can be made that's going to take me otherwise. Because this is a guy, I think, looking for a breakout year, and he's going to rock and roll. And he's going to get off to a great start.
Yeah, we mentioned how Ferguson could do against the Browns safeties, but we didn't really do a deep dive on Delpit. That was Joey's deep dive on Grant Delpit. He's one of my favorite safeties dating back to his time at LSU. I'm going to award both of you a point for that. So we have 3 suggestions for the tiebreaker topics: kickers, running backs, or coaching. What of those 3 topics, which would you like to be the tiebreaker topic? Or we could do a best 2 out of 3, but I think you just prefer to just have one more topic and that be the deciding topic. But you...
Okay, how about coaching, Kerm? I think coaching would be pretty cool because as long as it's all 3 coaches, head coach, offense coordinator, defense coordinator, no specialists, no
position
back,
coaches,
none of that.
Coordinators, no position coaches, no special teams coordinators, just head coach, OCDC. All right, we can do that.
Yes.
Well, you know what you get with, say, Mike McCarthy. He's in the league so long, well, I don't know enough about the Browns coach so otherwise, or the new coordinators.
They replaced Kellen Moore with Brian Schottenheimer last year. And the Cowboys did surprisingly better under Schottenheimer than Moore. And I believe they replaced Dan Quinn with Mike Zimmer. So that is, we mentioned that earlier on the show. I think Joey did at least, but.
Well, Kerm, you know a lot about Mike Zimmer because you and I talked about him a good bit. So if you need to talk about only two of them, I'll talk about 2 of them.
I don't know enough about coaches, period, besides what I see on TV. And like I said, I haven't watched an NFL game in 4 years. So I'm not really much of any way in any shape or form to debate on coaches.
Then what are you comfortable debating? We got one more. Yeah,
well, we got 2
just
other
name your topic.
Linebackers and kickers. Those are the other 2 topics, linebackers and kickers. And you still got 30 seconds, Andrew, before we get to Joey's final topic.
Well, let's start Kerm over. I mean, let's give Kerm a proper chance here.
Yeah.
Okay?
He can talk about both if he wants.
What do you want? Yeah. What do you want to talk about? We can do it.
Think of kind of be on the kickers as usual. As the kicker in that third part of the team, the special teams. I think, Cowboys is going to have the better edge on that. And something we've seen on both Thursday and Friday, the new day kickoff bowls, while it sounds good, having them, teams are still just giving them the extra 5 yards and starting on 30 and kicking a touchback instead of giving up a big return. So that part of special teams won't really matter. But the kicking game, Elliott is one of the best there is.
All right. So, Joey, what would you like to talk about? And then I'll crown a winner.
I'll make it fair. I'll go with kicker. I don't want a discrepancy between myself and Kerm. We're going to go fair. Fair is fair. Last year, let's face it, in this game we're going with the number 1 kicker in the NFL against the number 3 kicker in the NFL. Based on last year's statistics, and that is number 1 with Dallas and number 3 with Brown. Okay? You have the number 1 kicker over 50 yards with Cleveland. You've got, I think, number 1 and 2 based on percentages. I've got a veteran in Cleveland. He's going to hit, he has a 90% hit rate under 50 yards. And after last year, he's got a over 70% hit rate over 50. I'm looking at this and saying, if it comes down to a game-winning kick, if I'm looking at the young guys from Dallas or the veteran from Cleveland, I'm looking at the record. The record says you look at the veteran from Cleveland because he's going to hit 50 yarders. He's going to hit under 35. And there is no question on any of that.
Great stuff, Joey.
I'm just looking at the record. Records speak for itself.
They do. And I'm going to, honestly, I think it's a 6-5 debate. I think both of you guys did an admirable job debating. And I'm not going to reveal my winner. In fact, I'm going to let the people in the comments page on YouTube reveal who they think won the debate, because that's the professional thing to do. I mean, the people on the news networks, they don't reveal who they think won the debate. They say that off the air after the debate's over, but they don't say it on the air. So you know what? I'm going to do what the news reporters do. I'm going to do the professional thing. I'm not going to reveal who won the debate, but I'll say it's a 6-5 landslide. And on the topics, it's a 6-5 landslide. That's all I'm going to say. And honestly, I want to know who you thought won the debate between Andrew and Joey in the comments section on YouTube. And
How the hell is it a 6-5 landslide? That doesn't make any sense. Like, a landslide is a landslide. 6-5 is 6-5.
It was 5-5 heading into the tiebreaker topic. One of you won the tiebreaker topic. I'm not saying who. That makes it a landslide. 6 topics to 5.
No, it doesn't. I mean, that was a 12-round. They won.
Yeah, that was a 12-round to a decision. Yeah, that was to a decision. It's like,
yeah,
you know, landslide is Mike Tyson knocking you out in one punch in the first round. I mean, that's a landslide.
It is a landslide. This is literally 12th round Rocky Balboa, Apollo Creed. That's how close this was. First Rocky movie, by the way.
What decision?
Yeah. It would be a
it's a split decision. Going to the judges.
48,
So
47
instead of
with
crowning
a
a winner,
decision.
I'm going to let the people of YouTube decide who won the debate. Go back, listen to it in its
Let's
entirety,
do a split decision.
and it's a split decision. I'm
Just
calling it a split
Going to the
decision.
judges. Going to the judges. Going to the judges. Are Gracie, are YouTube following? You guys, you're making the decision here. It's a split decision. We're going to the judges, and we're going to love it.
Yep, we're going to love it.
Good debate.
It was a great debate by both Andrew and Joey. I had a blast doing this. This was fun, and I'm surprised I was able to keep my emotions in check, because I know some people who host these debates, not naming names, they do questionable jobs. Some of them do an egregious job. So I'm not going to name names, but yeah, I thought I did okay as a debate moderator today. I would give myself a B.
You are bad.
I'm not going to give myself an A, but I would give myself a solid B if I had to grade my performance as moderator today.
I'll give you a C+ because I think there's room to grow.
Yeah.
But I do think that, you did an admirable job for your first time. I mean, this is preseason freaking game 1 for a rookie. And so you did an admirable job. And I'm not going to be upset with that.
All right. Now, if you want to listen to part 2 of this show on TalkShoe, as well as the NFL predictions, that will be in the other restream that I start in a few minutes. And I do have an update on Jordan Love, so that will be on the other restream. Joey and Kerm will still be with me on TalkShoe, but you want the other update on Jordan Love, and you want to see the visuals, you got to join us on